Hey everyone, in today's DMZ video, we need to talk about the new Season 4 Reloaded update, or otherwise known as the Fortnite update, haha. This update introduces a collaboration with the TV show The Boys, which is basically a mature audience superhero type show, where as you might expect, characters have unique special powers that make them super. Well, Call of Duty Warzone and DMZ now have superpowers that can be used in-game. This just seems so way off base for what fans of Call of Duty are looking for, which is usually like a bit more of a mil-sim type of experience, you know, military theme. Given that this is just a temporary event, I wouldn't get too worked up over it. I do expect the superpowers to be removed at the start of Season 5, which is just a couple of weeks away. But for now, it is what it is, and they are in the game. So we're going to go over all those superpowers here in a moment. One big thing to note right away before we dive into anything is there is a major issue with FPS and graphics with this update. Players are getting a massive FPS reduction and graphical fidelity loss, but Call of Duty is aware of this, and I expect a quick fix on this one. It is pretty bad. That out of the way, let's talk about the important stuff added with today's update, and we might as well start with the superpowers. DMZ only has 3 of the 4 superpowers that were added, or the Temp V, which is what they're actually specifically called. It is a field upgrade that you can find out in the world. Orange boxes specifically will have them, and when you use one, you actually appear on the minimap. You can see it here. I'm testing this out. You can see the blue circle. That's me with one of the field upgrades in. And when another player has one, it'll be red, and you can see them anywhere on the map if they are using the superpowers. So you are visible to every single player on the map when you have the superpowers on. But like I said earlier, there's only 3 that DMZ has utilized, and one is the electric shockwave, which shocks players through walls or AI through walls and can destroy vehicles and equipment. So you kind of look like Emperor Palpatine. You can use it 4 times before it is exhausted. Next is the laser vision, which you float up a little bit and can beam lasers out of your eyes, and it literally just burns through players and can be only used 1 time before it's exhausted. And last is the teleport. This basically teleports you straight up into the sky and allows you to fall down in any direction you want. So it's basically like falling in from Warzone once you use it, and you can float around or pull your chute at the very top. It's really up to you. This is a great way to avoid enemies or use it to flank them and get on top of them. The one that is not used is the charge jump, and we don't have access to this one in DMZ. It is Warzone only, but basically it was like an ability to propel you across the map kind of in an arc and have a huge height and then have falling damage removed, and you can land on other players and basically ground pound them. But that one is not in DMZ, so do not worry about having to deal with that. Okay, so that concludes all of the superhero stuff. Let's move on. So next we have a new shotgun that was added called the MX Guardian. You can unlock it through the Battle Pass. And if you're doing the Battle Pass unlock, you have to get like 10 headshots, 10 hip fire. There's like a whole series of small challenges that you can do to unlock it, or you can just extract it in DMZ, which is what someone just dropped it for me today, which was very kind of them. You can just have someone drop it for you, and you extract, and it's unlocked as well. It seems to be a pretty solid shotgun. I have not messed with it too much, but it does seem to be pretty solid, more of like a slug-like shotgun build, and looks to be pretty strong, as you might expect for any new gun that we get in this game. Next, there were some slight gun balances. We didn't see anything dramatic. A lot of stuff was pertaining mostly to Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, but the SMGs, the new ISO, and the Vaznev did seem to get a bit of a hit to their abilities. We'll see if they're still really strong, but obviously they're excellent right now, but we'll see how they perform after this change. But yes, right now the SMGs seem to be the only thing that have been majorly impacted with the gun balance. There were a lot of bug fixes as well, including little changes here and there, like seeing the total number of plates that you have available in your inventory, for example, in the bottom left. It's not just going to show 3, it's going to show however many total you have in your bag. There's a lot of little small improvements. The big bug that was fixed, at least for me and a lot of players, is the advanced UAV on PC is now working properly. You can now tell the difference between players and AI, which is a long-awaited fix. Okay, so we've got some big changes for pleading for help and assimilation for DMZ. This is probably the biggest change that we've had for a long time because it really impacts global gameplay. It's not like the superpowers that are going to be gone in a couple weeks. The stuff is going to be here for a while. So starting with reviving someone who is pleading, the player who is pleading will no longer automatically join the reviver's team. Instead, there's going to be a 30-second grace period after the player is revived where the reviver's team will not be able to damage that player who is pleading. After reviving, the reviver will be given a prompt to invite the revived player to their team. This is pretty wild to me. Their first attempt at reducing the amount of assimilation that goes on in the game. I personally find this to be the strangest way of dealing with this situation, dealing with assimilation. I mean, I don't know, the 30-second window, and then what are you going to do? Say run, rabbit, run, and that person's got to run 30 seconds and give him a head start, and then you just come back and kill him again? I don't know, there's something completely wrong in my mind, at least on paper, with how this sounds. But wait, it's not over, because it is in conjunction with this other piece of very, very important information, which is the last bullet point here. The team who killed the player that is pleading will no longer be able to accept their plea request and then revive. This prevents killing to force assimilation. And ultimately, that means that you just can't fully kill an entire team before you decide to assimilate. So you have to open lines of communication with one of the last guys, or down them all and send an invite if you're still trying to assimilate. I really, again, do not see how this is a better option. There's got to be a better way. And of course, the whole idea here is to an attempt to reduce the number of platoons that quickly form in DMZ, and I get that. But I feel like this is actually bad for the casual player base, because all it means is they're even less likely that they're going to get picked up and continue their game. Since the people that killed them can't pick them up, they're just going to wait around until another random squad shows up and picks them up, and then it's like, oh, 30 seconds to decide if we're going to allow you on our team or not. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I bet if you took the percentage of total players that have ever been picked up from a plead, it's probably like 90% from the team that actually killed them. So with this change, there's going to be so many more players that are actually just going to be going back to the lobby instead of continuing on with their game. And also, do I need to say this, but obviously, it's really, really bad for solo players, right? Because if you get killed and fooled by a team, there is no way that they can add you. So you have, the only option is to go back to the lobby or wait and hope and pray that someone picks you up. This is very, very bad for solo players. I mean, if they really wanted to reduce the number of platoons, surely there are much better ways of doing it. This ain't it, in my opinion. But we'll see how it all plays out. I mean, we're basing this off of very little time played and just a bunch of text on a blog. But we'll see how it plays out. You know, hopefully I'm wrong, but on the surface, this does not look like a change for the good, in my opinion. But we'll have to wait and see. The one last big thing that we need to talk about for Season 4 Reloaded is players hunting players. So this last one's interesting. If a player and their squad kill too many players in DMZ, that high kill individual player will be issued a warning. If they kill another player, they can expect a bounty on their head. Enemy operators in the exclusion zone will then receive intel on your position to secure a reward upon completion. Killing a player with a bounty will award everyone in the squad 10,000. I'm on the fence about this one as well. I mean, hunting a squad that has been doing a lot of killing on the server sounds like fun, but I don't really like the idea of penalizing players for PvPing in DMZ. Without PvP, players would never experience any risk or high levels of stress, and it might as well just be a single player experience at that point. That's not what we want. Instead of penalizing PvP, I almost would go in the other direction and just reward PvE even more than it already is. Give players more incentive to do PvE related things, and PvP will naturally be a bit lower. With the idea that they're coming across here, it's basically discouraging PvP by adding more PvP. I don't know, this just like doesn't make any sense to me. But as with the assimilation changes, we'll just have to see how it all shakes out. And by the way, I'm not even entirely sure that the player bounties are actually working at this time, because I've seen players with over 12 kills and no bounty on them. So anyway, this update sure has stirred a lot of pots, and I'm sure many of you have a different opinion on it. Let me know down in the comments below how you're feeling about the new update. Drop a sub for more DMZ content, and I'll catch you in the next one.